Next, we will understand the one of the fundamental building blocks of the DAX, the calculated column and calculated measure, calculated table. Okay, how do we create these three things? Already we have seen how to create a calculated column, how to create a calculated measure, and what exactly exact difference are there, amongst these three. And calculated table also we can use it. So when I suppose to use calculated column, when I suppose to use calculated measure, that we will discuss it now. The calculated column is an extension of the calculated column. In this case, this is, let me do one thing. I just go here. So here, what is the calculated column? So all these columns were already available, except the list price and sales amount. These two columns were created by us. These two columns are my calculated column. This is an extension to my pre-existing table. Okay. And in this case, these calculated column values are evaluated for each row. And importantly, these calculated columns live in the X velocity in memory storage. How many of you remember the X velocity engine? That is the workhorse behind the DAX. Behind the scene, I was talking about the not only DAX, the connectivity, import connectivity. So in the case of import connectivity, the X velocity kicks in and then it converts your tabular data into columnar data, and then it does the encoding and compresses the data and load the data in memory. Remember? So whenever you created a calculated column, this one will get stored in the memory in memory, just like the other data you import from, we imported from this Excel file. Okay, this calculated column is virtually the same as non-calculated column. Okay, but one exception here. So their values are calculated using DAX formulas. So here in this case, we did not use any DAX formulas. Okay, and we will see how to use a DAX formula here also. And also, right, the values of these calculated columns, we derived from other columns like this, right? So already sales column was there, and then quantity column was there, and then we divided the sales column by quantity. This is division. Okay, and we are able to get the listed price and sales amount. We multiplied the listed price with the quantity to get the sales amount. Okay, hope you understood why I created listed price. Let's say in the real-time scenario, we don't have the sales column. Yes, Soumya, tell me your question. Yes, the real-time scenario, yeah, you can unmute yourself and talk. Real-time scenario, you don't have, the sales amount column is available. In
Sir,
that
can you repeat that listed prices once again?
listed price, I just clicked it here. Okay, now you understood, right? How to create a new column, Soumya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You need to go here, click on new column. I'll just show you one more time. Click on new column. This is simple thing, okay? But in real time, you will not be performing just like that to get the price. So what I do is a listed price. I just, for your sake, I'm doing it. So what I do is already sales amount is there in my table. Okay, divided by the quantity. If you do it, you will get the price. You understood?
Yes, I
Again,
just want to know the formula, sir.
yeah. So this formula, don't literally go by this formula because the sales amount here, it could, after deducting the tax, you will get the sales amount, and some customers you would have given discount. Okay, and again, the prices will also change over a period of time. It is not same. If you see the festival, Diwali, Christmas, or any, in the case of US, Good Friday or Cyber Monday, Black Friday, those kind of times they change the prices to uh, to keep up the momentum or to sustain the momentum or to keep up the prices on par with their competitors. All the e-commerce company, they offer cheaper price, right? They give these offers during the festival or that time. So in this case, the assumption is we don't have the sales column. Okay, if I don't have the sales column, I need to create a sales column. How do I do that? So what for that, I just use this formula, but don't literally go by this formula. Don't worry. What I will do is sometime tomorrow, I will send you the formulas, everything. Okay, what we use it. We call it as a KPIs. And also I will share the assignment, another assignment, DAX related assignment. Start work on it. If you cannot work on it, what we'll do is next weekend, we will dedicate one day, because so far in class assignment, we did not do it. The reason why I did not do it was right. You can go and download and you can do the assignment during the weekdays, because you have 5 days time and then come back with questions. Okay. And in that case, what will happen is I will try to, help you out where you missed out, or if you submit your thing, right? The report file, I will check it, and where the problem is, and I'll try to fix it, or I will give you the solution. Okay, this way we can utilize the time effectively. If I dedicate a separate session, it will take longer time, right? One session will, 1 or 2 sessions, one weekend, we will be spending only for this one. If you do it proactively on a weekdays, 5 days, you will obviously will encounter errors, mistakes. What you do is you can watch my video and you can go and search it in the Google also, and try to fix it on even, so that you will remember it forever. Okay, even we people working on day in day out basis, but we are working multiple technologies. Okay, and even we forget it. Okay, but only thing is practice. Okay, fine. So now you understood, right? This is just a, don't literally go by this formula. This is for you to understand. Basically, I just simulated something. We don't have the sales amount column available in my data set. I have prices available and the quantity is available. I need to create the sales amount column. This is a calculated column to show you how, what exactly the calculated column is all about. For this, I have used this one. Okay. So the calculated columns are used for row by row calculation. So in this case, what will happen? It goes each and every row. It performs row by row calculations, and it is pre-calculated and stored in memory. Okay. And it will not get recalculated when filter changes on the dashboard. For example, if I go here and if I select something else, I put some text value along with this. I just put one simple column, category. I want this category column to appear, as a first column. I just come here, I just move this up, drag this up and drop it here. And still it is not the first one. Probably I'll move this down here. Okay. Now the category column is first and all the values are same. Okay. Here, what I do is I just create some slicer. I just move this up. And when I select furniture or any specific thing, look here, when I select these two things, only those values I selected as part of this slicer gets reflected, it gets filtered here. Only the furniture and technology related data are showing here. Okay, so when I select, make a selection, what are the select? For example, if I select office supplies, it display office supplies related values here. So here what I'm trying to say is, in the case of calculated column, this will not get recalculated. This will not recalculated when you make a changes in your filter or slicer. So to summarize, what is calculator column? Calculator column is used for row by row calculation. It is pre-calculated and stored in memory. And also, right, it will not get recalculated when the filter changes in your report or dashboard. But it increases the size of your model because you are adding more number of columns. Right? If you add 1 or 2 columns is fine, but in the real-time scenario, we will end up creating more than 2 or 3 columns. Obviously, as you include new columns in your table, the table size will increase. If the volume of data is very huge, 1 million, so let's say, 50 million records are there in this table. If you add new columns, what will happen? It will consume a lot of memory also. Okay, so if somebody is asking you in the interview, what is your answer? What is calculator column? It is used for performing row by row calculation. In the case of calculated column, it uses row context. You need to say this way, row context, okay? And it is, the calculated columns are pre-calculated and it is stored in memory. It is not going to get recalculated whenever we make any selection in the filter or the slicer. The one flip side of the calculated column is it increases the size of your model. That's it. Okay. Now I just go here and then I'll walk you through what is a calculator column. Let's go step by step. A calculator column is a new column created from two or more existing columns. You remember listed price into quantity, two columns, right? A calculator is a new column created from two or more existing columns. We have used the listed price into quantity to derive a new column called sales amount. Okay, and it is calculated row by row in a data table. So it is also called as a row context. This is the one we will be using it more frequently in the later part of this session. And the calculated column is often used as an intermediate step to obtain a final result. Sometimes we will use this as an intermediate step to obtain a final result. Okay, so what do you mean by intermediate step? For example, I just wanted to know the cost of goods sold. I want to know the cost of goods sold. Uh, right, in that case, what I do is to understand the cost of goods sold, what I do is I'm going to create another column. In this case, I'm going to create another column. So let's say, we are going to have some cost price. I'm going to say the cost price. But what I do now is just for simulation purpose, I'm doing it. Don't go literally by this one. Okay. What is my listed price? 636, right? What I do is the listed price to this is the sales amount 1908 by 3. Okay, so in this case, it gives me each product price is 636. Okay, what I need to do here is I need to add this one. Okay, list price to. Okay, what I'm going to do is I just say 3 is and 30. Okay, I just use this is going to be 30. Just say 0.03. Okay, not this one. And okay, I just say okay. So obviously the cost price should be less than your price, right? Selling price. List price is nothing but the selling price. Let's say this column also given by your manager. Okay, you don't have to do all these things. This is just for the temporary sake, right? I just use this one. Don't you can simply ignore this one, and you just think we have a column by the cost price and selling price is available, and then we don't have the sales amount column. Hence, we create a new sales amount column by multiplying the quantity by list price. We are able to get this one, and listed price is available. Okay, fine. The cost price is available. Now what I do is, the next thing is I'm going to create new column. In this case, I'm going to say margin. Margin, here I say I just say the margin is going to be, okay, otherwise I just say cost of goods sold is equivalent to the quantity into the cost price. If I multiply the quantity by list price, that gives me the sales amount. Okay. And the actual cost price, if I use it to multiply, this is the cost of goods sold. If I subtract the cost of goods from my sales amount, I can get my margin. So this is an intermediate step. Okay. I just use this one, new column. Without cost of goods sold, can you compute the margin? You cannot do it, right? So this is what your margin. You can go and especially look at a lot of decimal values are there. What you do is you can go and format it here, auto 0 or something like that. 2, you can just say 2 here and press enter. This is how you can format it here. Okay, 2 decimal is fine for me, fine. Now this is the intermediate step. Okay, and then we get this one. So what is an example for we were able to find the margin by computing the cost of goods sold first, and then we are subtracting the cost of goods sold from my sales. And you might be arguing this one. So whatever the formula that I used it here, the same thing, can't I use it here itself? Yes, we can do it. But for the sake of understanding, I just explained you with this, what exactly this one says, right? To understand this context, I explain this one. Next one is, it is calculated at the time of refreshing the memory. Only when you refresh your memory. For example, if I go here and if I click on the home and you have a refresh button, when you click on it, this formula will get refreshed. Otherwise, it will not get refreshed. Okay. And it is not going to recalculate it when the filter or slicer changes on a report or dashboard. It is pre-calculated and stored, like I said earlier. Fine. Okay. Now we understood what exactly calculated column in the interview. At the time of interview, they ask you what you need to do. It is calculated row by row in the data table. It is pre-calculated and stored in memory. It is calculated at the time of refreshing the memory. It will not get recalculated when filter changes on the dashboard. Instead, it will get calculated at the time of refreshing the memory. Only when you refresh it, it will get recalculated. Otherwise, it will not get recalculated.